Preliminary matter, this is the Contract Review Committee. I am Dorothy Hertz, Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Linda Williams?
Yep.
Jill Veith?
Aye.
Brooke Moore?
I'm here.
John Balash?
I just made it.
Okay. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Ann Medina?
Here.
Rachel Day?
Present.
I don't think there's anybody else. Is there not? Is there?
Holly's here.
Yeah, but not as far as staff.
Yeah.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative, as we do not have any anticipated speakers. Good morning. This open meeting of the CRC is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth, due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirements of the open meeting law to have all meetings in publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to anticipate remotely. The order, which can be posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded to the public. So that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the CRC is conveying by Zoom as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that the meeting will be recorded and that all attendees are participating in the audio conference or by the video conference. Please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer or anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, let me get an approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Linda?
Yep.
John?
Yep.
Brooke?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Me. So we are now going to look at the first item. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker of the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name and provided any comment, questions, or motions. That is not relevant with us today. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in the conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For items of public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak may state their names and be acknowledged and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken at the meeting will be conducted on a roll call vote. Okay, guys, hi. So, getting into this conversation, did everybody get that supplement information I sent out?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I thought maybe there would be questions because I had some questions right away. And I hope that maybe this helped answer questions that you all might have had going into looking at this grant process. So, we want to start talking about them?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Okay, we have two. The NAMI Cape and Islands is
Mhm.
petitioning or requesting a grant to start the clinical program of SOAP, which is run by Gosnold. And they are asking for additional funding for the educational program support and marketing managing. And that's why I had this paper sent to you. First and foremost, they put a red flag because of Gosnold.
You're right.
And my fear of whether Gosnold would stick to this commitment. I've been insured by, and I think it's written in here, but Gosnold's CEO and CFO has said that they will be running this program if it gets they believe, they know they've made a mistake here and they want to fix that. So the SOAP program has been, and I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at it, but it's a step program developed and or that's been in use at Gosnold. Their plans here would be to run 3 groups at a time at 5 people at a group over 10-week periods throughout the year. And they understand that it would be a grant that NAMI would hold the grant and Gosnold would be a sub underneath that grant. Therefore, they're feeling that they would be able to hold them more accountable too for making sure the program stays in place. The other monies that they're asking for are their marketing. One of the key things I asked about that, I know that that's a concern, was a concern on ASAPs as to how much marketing, we were looking at marketing. And they did take, for instance, they told me that the last meeting with Janine Keene that she presented, to the town, or not to the town, I'm sorry, I gotta move my leg, presented, they had 12 participants and those 12 participants said that they saw this stuff through the various means that had been advertised this year. Previously, they'd been having like 3 people show up, which, 3 is, to me, if you hit 1, you've done your job, but 3 is not significant. 12 is a significant number to show up, and those 12 to acknowledge that they found that through the advertising, they said it was on Daybreak Nantucket, they would see in the INM, they went to all the different marketing tools. So it seems like the marketing made a difference in this program. So that's where their marketing comes in, is to try to get more education out there, to try to get more spoken about in the community. I think that one of the things on either one of these grants, one of the biggest things is, and I want people to think about this, you have people in rehab and you have people that have this disease, and it's like any other disease, and people don't realize that the disease, it is truly a disease that affects the brain. But if John were to have a stroke and he needed money to make it, we would do a GoFundMe page for him, right? Jill, if one of your kids, if something happened to one of your children, we would do a GoFundMe page. People do it. And our community is amazing at doing that. But when you have families with people in rehab, I don't see any GoFundMe page to help them bring their families through it. And it is a disease that affects our community as a whole, your friends, your neighbors. It can be your brothers, your sisters, your children. It can be your parents. And I think that we don't look at the disease in the right eyes. There's such stigma still involved with it that people don't realize it could happen to you. And we have to be more aware of it. Just like we treat people with every other medical issue that's out there, whether it's diabetes, heart, Parkinson's, MS, whatever it is, we have to be better educated, and we have to make the tools available in this community to make it through it. And we invest so much money in animal hospitals and in our hospital, and you have to pull teeth to invest money in rehab or, addiction, mental health and addiction. So okay, that's my spiel. Okay, sorry. I just want us to be very aware when we're making this move today. So that is NAMI. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I think if everybody read it, they got a pretty good idea, and I'm hoping that this small thing that I brought, what I do want to, I should go to their budget page, because I had questions on their budget page. And you'll see that there are things in blue on the budget page, which is, I think is page 8, maybe? No, maybe it's further. On this thing, it's towards the back, but has everybody gotten to that?
I had more of a confusion, Dorothy, if we can get this off the top.
The salary?
No, I was confused by the whole thing. I'm fully in support of it. Are they asking us for more money or to reallocate what they applied for? Or we
No,
have
this-
to
well,
take
this-
money
no.
away from somebody else?
No. This money here is the marijuana tax money. So
Okay,
we have a grant from the marijuana tax
that we have to disperse.
that we are dispersing today. We discussed this. Oh, you missed last week. So Linda, I'm sorry. Linda, let me go back over this for you. I'm sorry. The marijuana tax money came in. It's a little over, I think it's around $97,000.
Okay,
And our job is, we have just today to decide where this money will go.
okay,
And so that it can be going into Article 9. The CRC will oversee these funds in coming years, and we'll have
Okay.
more time. The grant will go out at an earlier time, and the participants wanting the grant will have more time to apply.
I wasn't sure if we were going to be the title holders to that money, going forward, or if this was just give it to us for this year. This is this is how it's going to go procedurally forward, is we are always going to be the one allocating the marijuana money.
As of now, I believe that is what their plan is.
Okay.
And so we're sorry, and I know that it's been a lot of work for both the people writing the grants, and for us to get all this information in.
Because it was
It's
just
a
unclear
significant,
where we were going, if this is going to keep going, or just this is a one-shot deal, if it's going to keep going this way every year when the money comes in.
yeah, it's going to go this way every year when the money comes in. It's sort of amazing that much money was raised during COVID when the place was closed part-time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. Number
A
one,
lot of people.
lot of people. So Linda, does that answer your questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to know how this is working and where we're going and if it's going to keep going. And we only have one applicant, so.
No, we have 2 applicants.
2 applicants, yeah.
Okay, so on the budget page, everybody, I had questions trying to figure it out. I'm going to go down to the program expenses first, because that's really easy for me to show you. Each one of those, they're going to have 2 employees. Of those 2 employees, that's the cost of it per month. Then we're going to times it by 12 to get that number at this side of it. So the first one might be 1,550. You're going to times that by 12 to get the 37,200. Do you see that?
Now, Dorothy, are we running on the fiscal year July 1? How is the year running when we're calculating that? Fiscal year?
It'll be fiscal year, just like the other ones.
Okay.
So on this substance abuse, the attachment, Jill, I saw you shake your head no.
The math doesn't work.
Are we on like page 4 or 5 of that attachment? Like, I'm looking at a PDF from,
Hold on one second. 1, 2, I think it's page 8. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, it's page 7. Yep, that's it, page 7.
I'm looking at the wrong attachment. I'm looking at something Rachel sent.
Yeah.
And then,
It's in their packet.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that myself.
So Dorothy, if I may,
can you hold it up and show me what it looks like so that, okay. Sorry.
Brooke?
So the math to me looks like you take that amount, multiply it by 2 staff people, and then by 12, and you get the annual amount.
That's
So-
what I said.
Yeah, is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I missed the by 2 people part.
Oh, yeah, no, you did 2
So-
people.
Yep.
Okay, so that's how you get these numbers because they didn't have that there and I was like, well, I don't understand what you're asking us. And then the up above is the salary costs for the supervisor and the certified counselor. So they're asking us for 10% of the salary for the project director. And they're asking for 50% of the counseling of of the second person.
So all of it's going to salary.
Yeah, because with Clint, well, not all of it. So the upper part of all this is salary. The estimated cost of running the program is $186,087. The cost for NAMI to manage it and not only manage it, I shouldn't say manage it because I'm gonna take that off. The marketing and the educational part, they're asking this number here, 24,272. I believe it's actually 25,000 that they're asking for. Does that help make this thing make more sense?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
my question is, we have 2 proposals in front of us, right? Both of which are targeted at outpatient support services for people in recovery, basically, right? They're both targeting the same population and in a similar, their programs are run differently, but the target population and the type of support being offered is fairly similar, right?
No, because the other one, the peer support program,
Yeah.
It's different.
it's different. It's a different kind of program.
Well, I understand that they're different, but the target population is people, it's outpatient support for people in recovery, locally, right?
It is outpatient support and training. Yes.
Yeah. So they're approaching it differently, but it's a gap in services on island or a wholly underserved.
Well, it basically doesn't really exist.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
let's be honest. And the expanded peer recovery coaching program at Fair Winds has been on a like up and down, very inconsistent.
Mhm.
But with that being said, yes, they both are designed for to help people move back into the communities that they live in and function.
Right.
Go on.
Yeah, so the question I have is, they've each, obviously, as always, the requests exceed the funds available, right? So if we were to fund both programs in part, would it make either of those programs unviable?
Yes.
Is the question. In other words,
And the answer is yes.
yeah.
I've already asked that question.
So
Okay.
it's all, did Brooke, follow from Brooks, it's all or nothing for either one of these?
Well, for basically the peer counseling program, they would hope peer recovery program, coaching program, they're hoping to enhance it.
Okay.
The SOAP program is, we're not even being asked to pay, I think not even half the cost, or maybe around half the cost of running this program. If we don't fund it, the program will most likely not run. I asked that question yesterday. I said, I need to know, will you be able to do it? And they will not be able to do it. The difference is that their program will run for anybody and everybody insurance is not of any, has nothing to do with the whole program being run.
This is the NAMI program.
The NAMI program will have no insurance, it'll have no guidelines to keep you out of the program.
Okay.
And so the question, it's such a hard and tough one because you have a program that's out there, but it hasn't been able to establish itself, correct, in a solid way for us over the years. Would love that it had or would have. And then you have one that's coming in that has an established program somewhere else that has definitely worked. It's recognized nationally as a program. But we have them looking, for all of us, there's that question in the back of the mind, well, is Gosnell going to stick around? NAMI is putting their name on saying that they will. And they have gotten a commitment from both the CFO and the CEO saying that they will follow this through. I know that they did hire somebody new on the island. Her name is Emma, and Rachel might be able to help me with the last name, but I did ask that and forgot to ask what the last name was. I think she might have introduced herself or reached out to Rachel for something earlier, but she did take over Nancy's spot for Gosnell. So I think it's a tough thing that in front of us. But and speaking on a very personal note, I will say to you as a parent of 2 children that were addicts and having one that I have had living away, both of them don't live here. One, is in school and he comes back in the summer, but, and knowing so many kids and parents involved in this, we have to do something. And there has to be a way to get our kids back here. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna cry. And I think all of us have lost somebody we love because of this. And, we need something to help those kids that really want, and adults that really want to help themselves. It's the disease that takes them back over and they just lose control. So.
This is a hard place to come back to because it's hard to stay away from the people that were
Because they meet them
in the first place.
They meet them at the damn boats.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's tough.
So it's very tough. And I think it's been tougher on families than anybody could ever imagine here. So Brooke, I saw your hand up.
So the way I'm framing this question in my head is, and I'm just going to rephrase sort of what you said. We have an organization that has run a program that has had a degree of success, but has been unable to find a consistent funding source that would like to reestablish the program they had, Fairwinds. They're here. And then we have an organization that has had some inconsistent performance in terms of their commitment to this location, but successfully runs a program that they're talking about bringing here. To me, I'd like to hash through like the differences between the type of programming and maybe folks who've had more experience with this in their families. What would be different about a SOAP program versus a peer recovery program, and sort of the pros and cons of each of those in terms of like what's the better bang for the buck? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just one of the key things before we start is not that they've lost funding. They don't, Fairwinds hasn't had the clinical staff trained to do it, to work in this. And that's part of what they want to do is recruit people that can be trained to work in this. So that's part of an understanding of their program or where this grant is coming from. Okay. And I think that maybe, Rachel, you want to help me on this one?
Rachel, you're muted. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
In the difference on the 2 plans, I mean, what I do know is that the peer recovery coach program is not like done in group sessions. It's done one-on-one.
It's usually one-on-one. It doesn't have to be. You usually go through a certification process, but you do not have to be a clinician, is my understanding as well. It's more of a one-on-one counseling, I guess, a way that you can describe it. And I don't know, maybe you could also call on Holly. She might be able to help as well. But I sort of look at it as like a substance misuse program for like a big brother, big sister in a way, that you sort of have a one-on-one person to work with and to call on for assistance as you are trying to go through recovery. While the SOAP is a much more clinically driven outpatient therapy program. You usually probably have, I don't specifically know what they would call them, but you usually have some type of plan of care that you're following as you're following with a clinician. I don't know if that helps at all, but
Yeah, I'm going to call on Holly too.
yeah, Holly might be able to explain it a little bit more in depth. I do know before, when they were working on the peer recovery coaching program, it was something I know I had myself looked into as a family member, but it really works better if somebody who is personally in recovery, so they don't have to have like a certain type of clinical background or therapeutic license or education.
Wouldn't you describe it as having an Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor? That's your person, your go-to person.
Yes, with training on how to properly coach through recovery.
Yeah.
There is a training process. There is a educational component to it. So it's not just somebody that you kind of call on for support. It's that plus another level up. So I would say that in the hierarchy of assistance, that would be about here, and then the SOAP program would be a little bit more here.
May I say something?
Yes,
Yes,
Holly.
please. Thank you, Holly.
Hi, guys. Thanks for discussing this. Yeah, Rachel's pretty accurate in her descriptions of the difference. And I see the main difference as she described the levels. Oh, sorry, I'll put myself on. So a SOAP program is really, if someone's just coming out of treatment and they're returning to the island, they probably would need, a step down program, something that, okay, they just came out of in treatment, inpatient. Now they're going to counseling 4 days a week. They're checking in. They've got guidance with some peers built in with the counselor. So it's really a different stage of help. And peer recovery, which Fairwinds, maybe it wasn't Fairwinds at the time, but they did do a big training for peer recovery coaches on the island. There are some trained people who I know have not been called on to be utilized, and I don't know why that is. And maybe it's a funding issue. But that is also an important program, but it is very different. It's a different phase of recovery when you're able to move into a peer supported part of your recovery program. Does that help?
So basically, SOAP is like a first step, and peer recovery is almost like a second
Yeah, it's
step.
like an outpatient, clinical led, clinician led. So you're getting still clinical support in your recovery process. You're also meeting other people who are also in recovery with you. So there is a peer aspect to it. And it could be something utilized, for example, by the court. Maybe they have a diversion program here and somebody's been in trouble, with crimes related to substance abuse, and they could perhaps mandate them to attend the outpatient SOAP program. So it can be utilized in that regard too.
Okay. Thank you, Holly.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Brooke, does that help?
Can I just ask one follow-up through you to Holly? Holly, my gut tells me that there are other peer support programs, NA, Alcoholics Anonymous, that are available. I realize it's different from what Fairwinds is proposing, but that the SOAP program is just doesn't exist here. We don't have anything like it. So it is a huge gap in the support continuum for people in recovery. Does that
It's
make sense?
definitely a gap in services here compared to other communities. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions they want to address to Holly since she's on and readily available to answer questions for us?
Yeah, and then I've got to go.
Well, I think at least,
Do you have any questions, Linda? Or is
yeah,
this just a
because
statement?
it does, Holly, it does keep Gosnold with a foot on Nantucket. And we were
What?
worried that they weren't going to have any foot on Nantucket after what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think that after, you know, I think everyone wants to see that organization succeed here because we know it has a successful model. So I think this is a way to try to help them be successful, get a successful foothold, which
Mm.
would be good for our community.
And you trust this relationship that they're going to actually step up to the plate here?
I trust Nami and Jackie.
I
know
trust you guys. I've taken the DOMI training, but I just want to make sure that you are comfortable with their commitment.
Jackie seems to be, you know, I didn't speak to anyone myself personally in that organization. So, you know, there's always going to be a risk no matter what you choose to fund, I think. That's the
Yeah.
way this goes. So
Jackie seems to be very committed to it and committed to making sure it works. And she has herself went above the person that actually runs the Nantucket branch of Gosnold. And like I said, spoke with the CFO and the CEO and explained that, you know, talked to them frankly about how they'd messed up so far. And this would really be what they needed to do. And they're behind it. So, I mean, it shows sort of they're behind it by the commitment that they're going to cover the other 50% of the cost of running the program.
Because it's going to be a risk to our future grants if we give money to something that falls through.
I think that's a risk we take with all of them, isn't it? But I saw Brooke had a
Known
hand.
entities are a little easier to deal with than the new, an entirely new thing.
You know, NAMI is, I think, you know, affiliated with ASAP and has been around, but Brooke had her hand up again, so I'm gonna.
I would love to get a little more understanding of where the failures of Gosnold have. I mean, I know what little I know is anecdotal, and it's that they put an application in and then withdrew it, and that they've had a lot of staff turnover here. Is there more that I need to know before I make a decision about whether I'm going to vote to give them, you know, $95,000 of taxpayer money?
So that money would be going to NAMI to
No,
download.
I know.
Okay, just want to make that clear as we're saying this.
Yeah.
So I can speak from what I know, and then I'll ask Rachel and maybe Holly to come back in on this if Holly's still around. But Gosnold, when it opened, had clinicians in staff that were seeing people, and they were involved with the school. They were just, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I think it's been part of their problem has been their clinical staff, getting clinical staff that can afford to stay here and live here. This program would be, the people would, from what I understand, it would run with clinicians, but the clinicians would come to the island at this point to run the programs. One is here, but I believe that they will have somebody coming over to help run these programs. And they realize that they've made the mistake, and that's what we saw. We saw them we really fought for them to be here. We really fought and endorsed them. And they had a wonderful staff at the beginning. And I think that they really had to work at getting staff here. So it's, you know, that's been an ongoing, I'm sorry, I just got an emergency little thing up here on my text message. So I'm going to have to, can I turn this over to Rachel and Holly for a minute while I take this? And I apologize, but profusely. I'm going to step away for a minute. Rachel, would you mind just taking over the conversation for a minute? And I apologize, but there's something came up on this. Sorry.
Sure. Holly might be more in tune in the current status, but I think Dorothy sort of summed up what their anticipation is. I don't know, since Holly is part of ASAP, if she would like to chime in on how they plan to staff this as it's part of their grant request or not.
I don't have additional information. I think, Dorothy,
that's pretty
correct.
much it.
There's somebody on island and they're planning on staffing it by somebody who can come over and to start like that. And of course, it's always a housing issue on Nantucket that, somehow as a community, we need to address that, as I wrote in my editorial last week.
One thing I was going to mention, but I couldn't find it in the request. I thought I had read it, but I wasn't entirely sure if they plan on doing anything telemedicine wise in terms of this program, if there are challenges getting to the island.
I think they
Like
should.
whether,
I
I believe it's an option with this, especially this type of service. I think they can still do it. I was trying to look for it in the request to make sure I was passing it along correctly, that is something that they would be able to do under the program. I'm failing to find it, but I believe that is how they would still address it, rather than canceling appointments. If the concern is that people who aren't currently on island, they would still find a way either through phone or through some type of video conferencing to still provide the service. I do know in a lot of therapy, in general therapy, they have been doing that as well. I do know some therapists who either left the island but continue to see individuals either by phone or some type of FaceTime type of or Zoom now option. And I would imagine they would still utilize that if for some reason the therapist that they're utilizing would not be able to travel to the island. So I think staffing wise, they have the ability as they're trying to demonstrate. And I would expect that that's where NAMI's role comes in. As Dorothy was mentioning, to keep them accountable to do that if the funding is going there, to make sure that they're not taking the funding, but then maybe not utilizing or providing the service at the level that they're claiming that they will be able to.
I've got to check out, but I think that's a good point, and that maybe that's something that if this is something you guys choose to fund, that you could make clear to the organizations. It's a good idea.
Okay, hi, Holly. Thank you so much for your input.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Greatly appreciate it.
Good luck, guys.
Brooke?
So thinking out loud, I mean, the insurance, excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah, just tickling my throat. Insurance companies really expanded their reimbursement to include telemedicine through COVID, and it's going to be interesting to see whether that remains the same. But this program they're proposing is not based on insurance reimbursement, right? We're fully funding it. So I think there's an advantage there in that they may be able to use telemedicine when the boats aren't running, or telehealth processes to make sure things don't get canceled and that support is consistent. And I think it's a question we should definitely ask them.
Mm-hmm.
If in fact they're going to be relying on commuting clinicians to run the program. So what's our timeline for, we
have to decide today.
Okay.
I can, if it's okay with everybody, if you have this question, I can call Jackie at NAMI and ask her if you would like. I can put her on and we can ask if you would like.
Frankly, Dorothy, that would be one of my, if I was going to vote for that, one of my stipulations is that they have a way, or they have a commitment of how they're going to deal with it when you can't get here.
Well, and perhaps equally important that they're not going to rely on telemedicine in lieu of coming here.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you like us to call them?
Yeah, that'd be great
Sure.
if we think we can get an answer.
Okay. I'm putting it on, everybody sees, got my phone.
Hello.
Hi, Jackie, it's Dorothy Hertz calling from the Contract Review Committee.
Yes.
Hi, I am in the middle of a Zoom meeting and we're looking over your request, and some questions have come up that we best think that you should be able to answer or could answer for us.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna let the first question come from Brooke Moore, who is a member of our committee,
All right.
okay? And I'll identify each person as they come up since you cannot see them, okay?
All right.
Hi, Jackie. Brooke Moore here. My question was about the use of off-island clinicians as part of this proposal and how you would integrate, how they might integrate telemedicine or Zoom meetings in the event that the clinician couldn't get here because of transportation issues, and also that they wouldn't rely solely on electronic meetings to make sure that the clinicians are coming over. So it's sort of a double-edged question. Does that
No,
make sense?
they do not plan to rely fully on telemed at all. The idea is to have it on island. Obviously, there may be times if the people are not living on island, but I think they're trying to get people on island. That would be the ideal. Then obviously they would have the option of doing Zoom if the ferries weren't running and people were coming on island. But no, it's not to be, it's, you know, and of course we don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic. Hopefully that's going to be over. But no, the idea is to get this on island.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. I don't know. Does anybody else have a question for?
I did. I want to follow up on that, Linda Williams, member. To follow up what Brooke said, and something you just mentioned, is your goal to have a permanent resident be the person here as opposed to shipping people over?
That is the goal, yes, which is difficult, as you know, on Nantucket, but that is the goal. I've had extensive conversations with their VP of Clinical Services, and also the CEO of Gosnell, Richard Kukuro, has been involved in this plan.
Because we have a lot of private practice counselors here now, a lot more than we used to. And I don't know if you've reached out to any of them to do this or how you're trying to find something locally.
I
gonna-
have
wait.
a relationship with a lot of the private practice counselors because NAMI has gotten funding to run an independent therapist program. We have 8 people signed up, and these 8 people were vetted by William James College because we also run the William James and pay for the William James College confidential helpline. So we have this program where we have 8 private counselors, independent counselors on the island that can see patients, clients that have no insurance or underinsured, and through this grant we compensate them. So
Good.
I have been in touch with several private counselors. I'm not sure any of them, I don't know if any of them specialize in addiction. This has been more mental health, so that's definitely another resource. I could check that, but I do have a list of 8 people that are private therapists that we are actively working with on the island.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have any other, Jill, you have any questions? No? Okay. John, do you have any questions?
No, I'm learning every sentence is spoken. I'm learning something about something I don't know much about.
Well, you know more than you say you do. Brooke, you have any other questions?
No, I'm prepared to craft a motion if the group is ready.
Okay, Lee, can I just say goodbye? We
If
would
we
like
can
to
say
thank you,
goodbye
Jackie. Jackie, we'd like to say thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you being readily available to answer a question for us.
All right.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye. Okay, Brooke, you had something to say?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we fully fund the NAMI Gosnell Partner Project that as proposed.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded.
Okay, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Jill Veith,
Aye.
John Balash,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
and I will give it an aye. So, well done, guys. Woo, woo, woo. I think that gives us $2,000 or something left.
Yeah,
That can go
Saying
back
how
into
much is left?
about 2,000. Can that go back into the revolving fund, Rachel?
No revolving fund has been established yet. That is a different article, but yes, the money does not go away. So any remaining balance will be added to whatever comes in for the next cycle.
How often do we get the infusion from the state? Is it quarterly or is it just once a year? Like the room occupancy tax, Rachel?
I believe it. I believe we get that monthly, Jill.
Oh, the
Yeah.
room occupancy tax?
No,
That,
no, how this money, how often does the
I was gonna say,
marijuana?
I don't know
money
what the
come back?
room occupancy tax comes into play with that, but.
I'm just saying,
Um,
the room
we
It's a
still
little
don't know what that's
confused.
gonna be in the end.
All right, hold on. The room occupancy tax comes in once a year. I'm just wondering, does the marijuana money also
It
come
comes
in
in
once a year?
quarterly.
That's what I'm saying. Are we going to be doing grants quarterly or are we waiting?
No.
for one
No,
year?
no, no. The end of the
No.
year, once a
Okay.
year. And like I said, the grant process, I know that Rachel would prefer to see this in a much longer period, just like the regular one. So I know that that's the intent of the town, is to have recipients have much more time to put together plans and present to us as other ones are presented. So everybody, well done. Are there anything that before we like go ahead with this, are there any stipulations on this that we want to add to this as far as, Brooke?
I would, if there's a way to articulate that we'd like them to prioritize in-person on-island services.
Okay. I thought you were going to say that.
You hoped that Brooke would say it so that you didn't have to.
Yes. Linda,
Are you asking for a vote or just
I'm
comments?
asking whether comments right now.
Yeah, I was getting the same direction. I'd like it to be more than advisory. I'd like it to be a stipulation.
I drank my juice, but I can't do it with that, you know.
Well, a stipulation, but taking into
I
consideration,
will.
we have to take into consideration votes and,
Oh, absolutely. But the preference is for this to be in person and not rely on tele.
but the option is available if need to be.
Yes, if needs be, but
Yeah.
not rely.
Okay. Jill, did you have any comments for it? No? John?
No, I just go along with exactly what Linda and Brooke were saying, that as little as I know about this, the in-person contact is obviously essential. You could maintain the contact with the telemedicine or the Zoom, but you can't get the trust if you do it just by a remote
No, you can't.
contact. You just need to establish the relationship. So the telemedicine maintains it, but when you have to use it, but it doesn't work on an ongoing basis.
Here's a question. Are we requiring in this, I know we get quarterlies from our guys. Is this something that hasn't been established yet, whether they have to give us a quarterly report? Are we
No,
going to put that in the grant that they have to provide a quarterly report?
they will be providing quarterly reports to the town. It's the same, it's going to be run basically the same way the other humans. Oh, no. I'm
It's
gonna
your
go-
recommendation. You can
Oh.
do it at the end of the grant. You can do it quarterly. That would be part of your recommended
Okay,
motion.
so our
Yeah, that's what I'm
recommendation.
saying. It's got to be part of what we're doing right now.
Okay, so sorry, I misunderstood that information. So yes, Linda, would you like to see that added, correct?
Yes, I'll make a friendly amendment to add that.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Brooke.
So I would say that we would like them to report in their quarterly reports how many meetings were held with the clinician in person versus through telehealth. I think that will help us track that priority. And I want to be careful not to dictate too much, because with limited staff on island, if that person's on vacation, they may have to have someone provide the services from, remotely.
Right.
I don't want to dictate too much, but I certainly would want them to keep us posted or report to us the number of meetings held with a clinician in person versus remote.
Okay, I would also like to add, if everybody's okay with that, how many clients they're actually seeing, so we have an idea.
Oh, absolutely.
And the hours of service provided, so that we know, how long each period has gone.
Yep.
And I don't know if Rachel has any other ideas for us to add to that. Oh, Brooke?
One more.
Yeah.
I would say reporting of how it's a 10-week program, I believe. So how many people complete the program? And just as a metric for
Okay.
us. And I'm not sure it's necessarily a judgment of the program if people, but I would want some analysis of the rate of completion of the program.
Okay. A good one. Rachel, do you have any input?
Nope, I think that completes it. So your motion ultimately is to fund NAMI fully, with a preference for the person to be fully on island for services, but allowance for telemedicine to maintain the service if travel to the island is not feasible. And then provide quarterly reports, and at a minimum, as part of those quarterly reports, how many meetings are done in person versus telehealth, how many clients are actually being seen, how many overall services provided, and then how many actually complete the full 10-week program. In terms of hours of service provided, I can break that down per client and then overall.
That'd be
Okay.
fabulous. Thank you. Okay, so does everybody agree with that one before we, or have anything else to add? Brooke?
So shall we officially offer a motion to amend our approval to include those details?
As
We
long
had
as,
a- we
as
had
long
a
as
roll
there's
call
no,
vote.
excuse me, as long as there's no discussion.
Yeah.
Okay,
We actually hadn't had a roll call vote yet, did we, on the main motion? No. So now we have an amended motion to.
no, we
roll
did.
call. Did we
Oh,
roll
you mean
call
on
it?
which one? On the prioritizing it?
No, the whole
We
thing.
did.
We've been modifying it as we've been going along here. I don't
Yes,
think we've had a final roll call vote on it, so we don't really have to amend a roll call vote that wasn't taken yet. We're just
Well, did
amending
a-
the motion.
we did do a roll call on giving them the grant, and then we're adding this.
Then we have to open the main motion.
Right, that's what they're,
I don't,
I'll
I
make a
think
motion to
you made the
open the
motion and now all you need is a second motion on the details.
Yep,
of
I'll make,
how
a
you're
mo- did you say
administering.
make a motion to open the main motion again? Rachel?
no, she's saying just make a motion on the details of
Okay,
the,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. it.
Second it.
okay. Linda Williams,
Yes,
Brooke Moore,
Yes.
John Balash,
Yes.
Jill Veith,
Yes.
Dorothy Hertz, yes. Well done, guys. Woo!
oh, that's right. I remember the well done from 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. I will be presenting tomorrow to FinCom the recommendations.
Excellent.
And
Okay,
just so everybody knows, Dorothy did an excellent job at FinCom for those who weren't there, and she did an excellent job at the Board of Selectmen. They were actually very enthusiastic about the report.
It was a great report.
well,
Or
thank you.
Select Board.
I tried to get in and for some reason they wouldn't admit me.
Oh, really? I think I did
You're
it.
just too much, John.
Uh,
Linda, thank you very much. I actually was very
Well,
unpleased with my presentation to FinCom. I felt much better about my presentation with the Board of
Yeah, I'm
Selectmen.
here. Wait a minute, hold on. I gotta put myself on a mute here.
John's putting himself on mute.
Yeah, I
So
love it.
Guys, I gotta go. I got a phone call. Can we adjourn or
Motion to adjourn.
I think Brooke's making the motion.
second?
All in favor?
We have to roll call
Oh,
it.
we
Roll
have to do
call
roll
it.
call. Brooke Moore,
Yes.
Linda Williams,
Yes.
Jill Veith,
Yes.
John
Yeah.
Balash,
Yes.
Dorothy, yes. Okay, bye, guys. Rachel,
Bye, guys.
Rachel, do you need anything from me?
I don't think so, since you fully funded the grant, I can just go through it and break it all down and start the writing the contract like the others.
Okay,
I think I'm good.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you know what time tomorrow with FinCom?